Hello, Future Bestsellers, friends, hangers on, lurkers, everybody. You're all welcome. We're glad to see you today. We were just chit-chatting a little bit about the weather backstage and about sort of everything that's kind of churning out in the Atlantic, and the fact that Michelle is in a different office and is like,
There's a lamp right here, and I am like, how do I turn this on? There's nothing.
oh no, it must be like connected to a switch. I have a lamp in my bedroom where the thing broke off, like the little switcher thing broke off in the move. And I will tell you, I have kept it on the nightstand for 5 years because it matches the other one. How sad is that? Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and say hello to our friends in the chat. Mary's here. We didn't do any introductions, did we? You should do that. I'm kind of like, what this morning? Hi, Mary. We're super glad you're here today. All right, let's do our intros. Then we'll get and say hi to everybody in the chat. So let's start with you, Story Detective. Tell us a little about you and your awesome Coming Back Soon channel.
Well, my Coming Back Soon channel will be still the Story Detective, where we will take various forms of storytelling and break them down even more detailed and multi-parts and maybe mini biographies. And there's a lot in the works, and that will be coming soon. And yeah.
Yay! We're glad about that. What are you working on today, Robert?
I'm still editing my manuscript. It's close to the end. Should have probably been done this week, but had some other delays going on. And
no shoulda. It'll get done.
Yeah.
It'll get done. Michelle, welcome. Always glad to see you. Tell us a little about you and your awesome channel.
All right. My name is Michelle. I'm a young adult and middle grade author, and my channel is Writing Workshops, Traditional Publishing Chat, and Writing Blogs. And can I share a little exciting news for today? So after this live stream, I have a phone call with an agent.
What?
And the agent has already said that they intend to offer representation. So
yay! Awesome.
Very excited.
That is really fantastic. We'll wait for the official announcement of who dying to know. I could think of a number of people I could really see you with.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Does Rachel Vader still? Is she still?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I think she's still my friend Eileen Cook's agent, but she was like, you guys, your careers remind me a little of each other. She sort of, she did like her first book was like chick lit, and then she went into YA, and then did some middle grade, and then now she's writing adult mysteries. And I have to connect you guys. I think you like hit it off. You're both awesome. Yeah, definitely. Cool. All right, that's fantastic news. Wait, you know what? I can't believe it. I almost forgot. And I think you know it's coming. Yay! We're so proud of you. That's awesome. You're welcome. I'm Lisa Daly. I am between books right now. I'm like at the spot where the manuscript is resting before I get back into it, which is fabulous. And today I am shooting 3 episodes of my podcast this afternoon.
Whoa.
I know it's a lot. I normally would prefer not to do more than like 1, maybe 2 a week, but I was on vacation a couple weeks ago, and then last week was really crazy, like a book launch, and then so this is the week. And today is the day. So I will be like scripting intros and outros for the podcast interviews, which I'm super excited about. I'm actually talking with Rachel Lynn Solomon today. I don't know if you guys know her. She wrote Weather Girl and The X Talk, and her new book is fantastic. Love it. All right, here we go. Let's say hi to our friends in the chat. We said hi to Mary. Daisy X is here. Good morning. Cool Gamer is here. Eluthera, I think is how we say it, is here. Yay! I'm so glad you made it today. Dana, hi, welcome. We are very, very happy to see you today. Susan, super glad to see you. Very glad you could make. Oh, there goes my mic. Devin's here today. Hey, Devin, we missed you. And Dana's like, yay, Michelle.
Thank you.
That is so awesome. Becca C. Smith is here. We are super glad to see you today. Awesome. This is fantastic. Well, I am anxious to she's like, hello. I am anxious to know what you guys are working on today. Let us know in the chat. And I think we should just get going this morning. Let's go ahead and get our 5-minute warm-up sprint
Let's do it.
On the books. All right. That's weird. Well, I guess we are sort of on the book. We're trying to like do the books anyway. That just didn't work. All right, here we go. There's nothing like self-editing while speaking. Okay, everybody. We are going to do our first 5-minute warm-up sprint. We are going to get started in 3, maybe 2, 1. Sprint. All right, everybody. We are back. So, how'd you guys do with your little warm-up sprint?
Good.
I opened a document.
I made one note, so that was good. Very, very go. How'd you do, Robert?
I managed to leap back in without effort, even after taking a couple of days off. So that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. I think that bodes well for today's writing. All right. Phoenix Rising is here. Very, very nice to see you. Wait, is that the name? I don't know if anybody else is going to know this in this panel. Isn't that the name of a video game character or a manga? It's a manga character, I think. Maybe Phoenix Rising could tell us. I think it's a manga character. Debbie's here. Hello, Debbie. Super, super glad to see you. Eva's here. Hello, Eva. All right. So let us know what you guys are working on today in the chat. I just opened my document and started like rolling on that. So that's good. Becca's got all footage for her Becca got all of her footage for her vlog ready for editing. Yay! That's awesome, Becca. Great job. Susan got 64 words working on her Medusa retelling. Love, love, love that. I think that sounded so cool last week when we talked about it. I thought that was really awesome. Victoria is here. Hi, Victoria. We're super glad to see you today. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get rolling. I know usually I have like a ton to chit chat about, and we have some questions that that we're gonna take after our first writing sprint. But I am dying to get rolling today.
Yes.
Yeah, right. All right. Debbie says she's brainstorming a comic idea she's had on the back burner. Love that. That's great. Is that going to be your next project? It could be fun. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead. I feel like I'm a little choppy today, so sorry about that, guys. Share screen. There we go. Let me just say, I feel so special because I managed to get both timers up today before the live stream. And I think we all know if you're a regular, that's quite an accomplishment for me. All right. All right, guys, let's go ahead and do our first 20-minute writing sprint. If this is your first time with us, we'll do a 20-minute sprint and then we will come back and chat about what we're working on after that. If you guys have questions, you can just throw them up in the chat. But I also have some that came to me from social media, so we'll use some of those as well. All right, here we go, everybody. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's cha-cha. I'm sorry, just came right in there laughing. I was so like engaged in what I was doing. I was not even close to aware that the timer was about to go on.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I know, right? It was just one of those deals. All right, so let's see what is happening over in the comment section. How did you guys do on that last sprint? I was clearly very focused.
Yeah, no, that was a good sprint.
It
Yeah,
really was.
same
I'm
here.
trying to, let's see. 300 words.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Gamer Knight says 3 administrators sat and gazed upon their monitors, watchful eyes from afar, wonder what are they preparing for today. I like that. I feel like that was maybe about us. Okay. Very, very nice. Thank you, Gamer Knight. We really appreciate that. That is absolutely fantastic. You're here. Very nice, Muff. We're very glad. I'll be ready by the next sprint. We know you will. We'll do a little chit chat. Very nice. Oh, look at you. We got a poet in our midst. Cool. Very nice. All right. Debbie says, not necessarily my next project where I'm producing art for just trying to get back into writing after getting out of a stressful living situation. I am sending you some good vibes because I have had that myself. It is challenging to get back into it, but I don't know if you guys know Rebecca Symes, who's fantastic. If you're not familiar with her work, she's the one who writes all those Dear Writer, You Need to Quit, Dear Writer, like great series of books. She's phenomenal. She told me when I faced a similar situation, she said that I needed to find the things that were fun about writing and do more about that. And I think we talked about this. I was actually reading this other book that I do not have within my arm's grasp about using neuroscience to write better and to be more productive in your writing. And that was similar advice to what they had given, which is basically that you need to do things that make you feel productive and happy about your writing. So if you can bring in the fun stuff.
It's very true. I mean, for me, I had to get back to squares and I started just reviewing craft books, those that I read before, some new ones, putting pieces together until it became interesting and ideas started clicking again.
It's funny that you say that about craft books because you really are our craft king here. Like you really, really are, right? And I was thinking about the proliferation of AI writing tools now. And right now, mostly what they produce is kind of word soup. And I think that in order for people to make use of those tools, because even though we all are trying to put the brakes on it, we know that it is going to happen whether we want it to or not. I feel like the people who understand story structure and can make a book out of the word soup, are going to really have a major advantage. So you're just going to be sitting right on top of the pile, Robert.
Well, this is what it's going to boil down to, really. I mean, it's going to be just the same. Even when AI starts to get smarter, it's going to be very formulaic. It's going to be what the corporations are putting into it because they're the ones that are going to utilize this the most. So we're going to have basically story beats distilled down to a science without character, without nuance, without emotion.
Right.
You're going to have to figure those things out. Otherwise, everything's going to be flatlined as the same old stuff, and everybody's going to produce the same type of art, the same type of writing, and it's going to be very much recognizable as AI generated. And a few people are going to stand out,
right?
And they're going to be the ones who know what they're talking about.
Right. They're the people who knew how to write in the first place.
Yeah, AI is a tool, and I like tech, but I don't like the way it's being marketed and pushed. I mean, you can go on Instagram and see all kinds of things from art to writing to, I'll be your new best friend and your boyfriend, girlfriend. And I'm like, this is just obscene and obscure at the same time.
It's crazy. It's a little bit crazy. Yeah,
it is.
I mean, we don't want to be like people sitting in our houses yelling at people to get off the grass, but but there is but you're right. Like what my main concern with AI is that it's so easy to produce a mass of content that's like a book-like object that it's going to flood. We're going to have the same problem when those locusts, otherwise known as internet marketers decided that writing a book was like the new thing, the new way to make money, which is if they just talked to some authors, I think they would have seen not as easy as you might think. But then we saw like this rush of just crap books and material that, you know, had fallen out of copyright that was being rebranded as, you know, something original. And I don't know, I've been doing a lot of air quotes lately. Like, what is that? 1984? What's happening there? But yeah, so my hope is that we don't have that again, but that is my fear, that we just end up with, you know, the booksellers just being inundated, and it's harder and harder for readers to find actual.
It kind of will, at least for a while, I think, because it's going to appeal to those people who feel they can produce a whole lot of content, or they get rich quick without putting any effort into the scenario. So we're going to see that. If it doesn't sell, they'll make readjustments, but you know.
Yeah, that's true. The good thing is if they don't make money right away, they usually go other places. But whew. All right. Mohammed's here, actually on time. Very good. We are super glad to see you. Dana, 291 words.
Nice.
Yay. That is absolutely fantastic. Susan, holy smokes, 520.
Nice.
What? I don't know. I'm working on a script, which always goes a little slower for me. So I don't know what my word count was. I would
don't
guess.
know either. I can go check.
I know. Well, usually I do, but I was actually writing in my notes app, not Word or something. So, you know, it's harder to find word count with that. And my guess would be around 200, 250. So Marley, hello. We are super glad to see you today. Stacy's here. Very good to see you. Lainey, it's Wednesday. Do you want me to send you a text every Wednesday morning? Hey girl. RC is here. I love this. Very nice to see you. RC is definitely working. Marley says, so there are some people who complain about AI being shallow with no emphasis on human emotions. Yet what about the books that are negatively reviewed? Lack of story, so forth. Not everybody can write a book. Not every computer can write a book. Most computers can't write a book, but not every computer can write a book, or every algorithm can write a book. And not every person can write a book. So
see, we're already headed down this AI path, and we're kind of primed for it because, as you've probably noticed, most movies are the same basic plot, the same basic beats with different characters in a slightly different situation. So original characters are out. Dialogue written well is out. It's dependent on the actor's delivery. So as they remove things, this is what you're seeing, exactly what you're talking about. So AI is just the next generation of that.
yeah,
where we just get more crap on top of crap.
yeah.
And then they'll be saying books are dead, movies are dead. That's what they do.
While all the and then what will happen is that the other people will sort of fall away, and the, you know, the authors who are actually doing this as a craft will hopefully sort of, you know, rise up to the top. We'll see. That's my hope and my belief. That writers do not face the singularity, which is the word that they use for like the minute when AI becomes smarter than we are and we're all screwed. Okay.
Well, companies and independent authors are really I think the cure for that, but you kind of have to be prepared and fill those gaps that you can see are missing. And that can take time. Plunging in and writing 8 books in the next year isn't going to solve that problem. But maybe taking the next year and working on craft, you know.
Yeah. So I know what aphantasia, it's aphantasia, I think. I know what the word means. I'm not sure that I'm pronouncing it correctly. I'm like 80.
That sounds right.
I think that's what it is, but I'm not absolutely. But you know how it is, though. People who read a lot often have a bigger like mental vocabulary than verbal vocabulary. Like you know a lot of words that you don't necessarily use on a regular basis in a sentence. But I think that's how you say that. So I have aphantasia, and therefore I've always struggled with description. Any tips? Also, AI is helpful for that. See, so this feels to me like a really good use, right? You're able to sort of expand things and you know, and sort of fill in the areas where you are saying that you are not as strong. I remember, Robert, that you gave Doll some tips for description. If you guys don't know Doll Cecil Runo, you definitely need to check her out. She's awesome. We love her to pieces. And she's blind. And I remember you giving her, I don't remember what it was, but I feel like it
Yes,
would be great
we
advice
worked a
here.
lot on trying to figure out visuals, that weren't familiar to somebody who's visually impaired, but also using other senses, because other senses can be made to seem visual, and substituting other things. And writers need to learn to use other senses because it's very lacking. Most of us use our eyes, and we describe things very in a very telling, very overly detailed way, when it's just a few things that are well placed that bring you in and evoke those emotions that are
I,
are needed.
yeah.
I think AI could be good for this. When I get stuck, I often make lists of ideas. And if I make a list of like 12, 15, 20 things, suddenly something will click. But AI, if it gives you word spaghetti and you look at it, even if it's one good line that says, hey, this inspires me, this is where I need to go next, that could be useful as a tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Any other advice on description? You guys want to think about it? We'll come back to this. I love this question. Oh,
It's a really good question. This is just so basic, but I really think it's just read stories that are praised for their description and pay attention to what makes that description great. I think is just because the thing is, like, I think about this a lot. Every author has something in their book that they can't relate to, and we need to figure out how to write it. Like a historical novelist writing about the Civil War never lived through the Civil War. So
right.
they're going to read a lot about the Civil War and try their best to immerse themselves in that. Like, we're all writing outside of our own experience in some way. And in this case, it's that you don't process or think about senses the way, like, maybe a lot of other people do, but you can find writing and like study how that works, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. I have a writing coaching client who also really struggled with description. And
Mhm.
so one of the things that we did, one of the exercises that we did, was that she has a situation where the main character was in a room that was on fire. And
Mhm.
so, and the way that she described it did not feel realistic. So I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, let's just imagine this. Like, you're
Mhm.
smelling smoke. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're not going to, like, bring the door wide open because you don't know what's outside, right?
Right.
You're gonna look around. You're gonna see, like, is you, or maybe you can hear the smoke alarm far away, but you can't hear the one in your thing, and that kind of thing. Like, think about, put yourself in that scene and
Mhm.
go, what would I do next? Or act it out in your room or
Mhm.
wherever, in your living room. Like, think about, like, how do I get from my couch to the refrigerator to get myself a snack to watch with this movie? Or how do I make popcorn? And just being conscious of your five senses as you're doing that. So acting out what it is that you're trying to describe, and then thinking about, what am I smelling right now? What am I seeing if I'm doing this? What am I hearing? What's outside? That kind of thing. So
Yeah,
hopefully
think
that
about
helps.
your characters too. I was just reading like an old 19th century novel that described a person as, oh, they were happy and well dressed and into fashion, and that's just telling you. And that's what they mean between the difference of telling and showing. What
Right.
is the fashion that they're wearing? If they have a strong fashion sense,
How do
think
you
about that
know?
in the character.
Right.
What are they wearing? What's the first thing you notice about them? Is it the way they walk? Is it the way they dress?
Mhm.
And what are they wearing? How are they walking? If they're a very shy person, they're going to walk very differently than if they're a very confident or egotistical person. So you
Mm-hmm.
think about it as a movie and things like that. That's the difference between the details of showing and telling and what stands out, because it's all characterizes, who you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's excellent advice. I think that's really excellent advice. Mohammed, I hope that helps. And if you have any follow-up questions, drop them in the chat and we will come back to them after we do our next sprint. Gamer Night has this is not a question, but I think it is a question. I feel like writing is not enjoyable anymore lately. I completely relate to that. And I want to talk about that. And we're going to talk about that right after the break.
Yeah,
So, right? Think
it's
about
a
this,
good one,
everybody. I know it is.
because
So
we've all been there. And I think the more you're inundated with not so great stuff and it all becomes a hassle and a problem, then it becomes a lot less fun.
Yeah, that's absolutely the truth. All right, Gamer, we're going to talk about this when we come back from the break. And right now we are going to be doing some sprints.
Yay.
All right, here we go. All right, I've got 3 seconds up on the timer here for a 20-minute sprint. Here we go, everybody. Get those little fingers warmed up. We are going to make some magic. All right, we're going to get started in 3, 2, 1. Sprint. All right. How did everybody do on that last sprint? Ooh,
Good.
Excellent. All right, let me just grab this real quick before it goes crazy and switches to another video. All right. I also had a really great sprint, which once again it went super, super fast. All right. We were going back. Hold on one second. Sorry. I lost my spot. Okay, here we go. Gamer night. So we were going to talk about this, how to make writing more enjoyable. Because it's hard. I think I just went through this myself. It was so frustrating because I've always loved writing so much, and it, like, certainly there are parts in every book that really feel like work, but for the most part it felt like fun, and it was a struggle to not have it feel like fun. So for me, I started like doing some of the things that I guess that kind of made it feel more fun. One of the things that really turned things around for me was dictating my books in the pool while I was floating around. Right? I was like, "Oh, I'm out here. I'm a famous, fabulous author, and I'm just talking in my phone." And I like just that like relaxation and floating around in my pool. And I have this great I have this insanely expensive float that I love. I mean, I shouldn't say that. It's plastic. It was like $60, but that's a lot for a pool float, right? But it keeps you like completely above the water. So it's perfect for reading or writing books. But it also has like a weird, like velour thing. So it's a pain in the neck to clean it. But again, still love it because it's a great place to write a book. So when you are really struggling with getting your sort of fun back into writing, what have you guys done in the past?
Taking a break, first of all.
Yeah.
Just never, we always beat ourselves up over not writing, even if it's just for a day. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just take a couple days or even a couple weeks or however much time you need. And it for me, what works is like, if I set a deadline, like I am not going to write at all until this day, inevitably I will get some fun idea and feel inspired. And then it's like, oh man, I want to write. And then by the time the day comes, it's like, I'm ready to go again.
You're ready to roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that's key, really, having those fun ideas start flowing again. I mean, I always go back to what an early art teacher told me about any of the arts, and he said it's going to be hard work. You really have to love it because you're going to work harder at this than anything you've ever done before, which is very true.
Yeah.
And whether you're doing it professionally or just for yourself, there's going to be times when things get in the way in your own mind and the world around you, because people can just make anything not fun. There's what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. There's the rules versus craft. And I believe they're kind of separate things, because craft is knowledge and craft is techniques. And the more you know, the more you can apply it to yourself. There's no one way to use any craft skill because we're all a little different. But if you're sitting on the end of the fence where you're saying it's all bad, which there's that contingent out there, they are never really going to do anything that's going to make a splash, because craft and any art should be fun. It's the idea of learning and growing, and that's where ideas and what you put on the page and how you construct it, I mean, that should be fun. If it's not fun, you're listening to the wrong people, or possibly have the wrong teachers.
I think there's some real truth to that. Well, I think too, obviously what makes writing fun is different for every person. And who's got a little and wait, is it you? No. Robert, is that you?
The dog?
Yeah.
That's yes.
Oh no, it's totally fine. I was just like, wait, what's happening? You don't have to go. We could do a sprint. We'll set that up. But I think one of the things that helped for me, and I don't know if this will help you, but hopefully it will, is that I tried to I sat down and wrote down and tried to remember, like, what are the things that I really love about writing? And one of the things that I've always loved is like the ability to like write out, like to just be outside under the fan or down at the beach. Like that to me feels like anything you can do while sitting on a beach, if that's your job, is the greatest thing ever. And so I started thinking about all the little parts of writing that I really love, like meeting other writers and reading books, or like getting to read books early, and just all kinds of stuff that for me personally really resonated. And so I think, Gamer, if you can think about like, what was it when writing was fun and enjoyable for you? What was it about it that you loved? Or what are the parts about being a writer or an author that you love? And how can you bring more of that back into your life?
Yeah, you need to get back to basics. I mean, I try to make every project I work on a little bit different, because everything you do is a reason to experiment with different types of craft or constructing stories in different ways. And I think that's part of the fun.
Yeah.
And, what I learned in art school is something that writers don't often think. And they said, there's a whole lot of tools out there. Experiment with all of it, because you're not sure what your magic wand is going to be.
Right.
And writers sort of tend to jump on one thing, and then it's good or it's bad. And it becomes a very narrow path of what you do, because all the tools are mental. You can't pick them up and actually draw or
manipulate them in some other way.
But you do. It's a mental manipulation, and it's still, you have to experiment.
Absolutely. Absolutely true. That is such a good, I know it was like a statement, not a question, but I felt like there was a question in the statement. And we're all writers, so we're good with subtext. All right. We are going to do another writing sprint. Let me grab the timer. Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. All right. I'm super excited because I feel like we have had, I've personally been super productive today. And I'm loving the conversation. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and do I think this is our third, I can't even remember, our third 20-minute writing sprint. We're going to get started in 3, 2, 1. Sprint. All right, we are back. Oh my gosh, we have lots of comments. I do we have time? Oh, maybe we might have time for one. Oh, I don't think we're gonna have time actually. We might finish up a little bit early tonight, or we could go right into another sprint, but we would not be able to do comments. All right, let's do that. We're gonna do comments. I know, like, what? There's so much to do. Okay, so I wanted to go back to some of the comments. Mohammed said, "Thanks for the answers, peeps. I super appreciate them. We are so glad you are here, and anything that this awesome chat or the folks on our panel here can help you with, we are super, super happy to do." Stacy says, taking the entire month of June, took the entire month of June off from writing. Now that we're moving into July, I'm letting myself think about my July project so I can start fresh and refreshed.
Nice.
That is awesome. My plan was to take July off. I don't think I'm going to be able to take the whole month off, but I'm going to take a couple of weeks, I think.
Is July Camp Nano?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. That snuck up.
I know, right? It came super fast, but yes, it is. I don't know if you guys can see. No, you can't. I started resetting my like 12-week board. Yes, or Sunday, I get. No, Sunday, Monday. And yeah, I did not get very far on that because I went to a water park yesterday, which was super awesome.
Oh, nice.
I know. Well, I am definitely a summer girl, and I'm just trying to bring more joy into my life period. But the kids and I went to the water park and we had a blast. And I cannot move today because, I spent like a million hours walking around on the pavement in bare feet, and now I'm going to be on camera all day. So I'm gonna I'm not gonna be able to get out of my chair. I'll be like hunched over like love, 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 love. Marley says, also not feeling like writing is as fun. Okay, not feeling like writing as a fun feeling anymore is such a common feeling. Yes. Hopefully anyone finds that passion again. Totally, totally agree with that. Heather is going to do some more work-related stuff. Chiropractor, more promo. Well, I'm glad you are super productive today. That's fantastic. Yeah, we've all been down that hole. Susan 430, very nice, very nice. Heather, I had no idea you were going to be attending Orlando Reads Books. I will also be there, so please be sure to come by and see me at my table. Plus, you can probably stash stuff under it if you you don't want to carry like 18,000 books around. But yeah, I'm going to be there. All right, cool, very nice. Mary took off. I'm so glad she made it today. Okay, Susan, this is such great advice, dabbling in other arts. I have found that to be true for sure. And in fact, a couple I don't know, 9 years ago, I had a little bit of a writing slump, and actually I had a big writing slump. And I just, after I finished the book I was due for, I just stopped writing for a little while. But I found that when I the creativity sort of bubbled up in other ways. I did this huge shell chandelier, which was very delicate and labor intensive, but it was like so beautiful, and it was such an act, like a creative labor of love, that that sort of brought it back. And then just other kind of things, but that, I think that's such great advice, is to take painting class, go dance, do some other creative thing, because that also helps, spark those little pathways in your brain. That's like, wait, creating stuff, making up humans from scratch. That's fun. Very fun. Heather says she loves to use watercolor paints and sketch photography. Very nice. Very nice. All right. What do we have here? Yeah, so I do that. I will say though, I tried to do that when I was in kind of a big slump during the pandemic, and I found that that sort of morphed into me avoiding writing. And so what I'm thinking now is I feel like I've had success where if I just, other than now where I've just finished a book and I'm sort of letting my brain rest and reading a bunch, I think that just doing even a little bit every day for me is the way to sort of continue loving it. Because that was the thing. I struggled at the beginning of the last book, but by the time I got a third of the way into it, I was completely into it. Yep. Very nice. Very good. Love the advice. I enjoy writing because it's good and easiest place to show my thoughts. It's not enjoyable anymore after trying too hard to make my novel realistic and avoiding amateur mistakes. That's a rough one. So
Sometimes you have to make the mistakes, though, really. Like, you just
yeah.
make them and then read it and realize, oh, that's why. It helps you understand why those mistakes are mistakes, if that makes sense.
Right. And there's no such thing as like there's no such thing as a perfect first draft at all.
Yes.
And there's definitely no such thing, or almost no such thing, as a perfect novel. Yeah. So we all make those mistakes. And the one thing that's great about your early writing attempts is that there's all that passion. And so when you're 20 books into your career, you probably have a much better handle on craft and structure and all that kind of stuff. But you don't have that newbie enthusiasm. Even if you love the book project, there's some sort of magic in like seeing your whole literary career out in front of you with all these possibilities before you've actually experienced it. And so at any given point, there are times when, boy, your craft is going to save your ass. And then there are other times when just that, like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm managing it. Like, that's good too. There is some magic in that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And nobody's perfect. And sometimes we don't even know what the mistakes are that we're making while we're making it. And you could just drive yourself crazy doing stuff like that. So you just have to do it. I mean, my first novel or two was a huge learning experience where I just had a gigantic story, a gigantic cast, and I did exactly what everybody else does, but it became like a giant how-to experience. And by the time I finished with that, everything else seemed a whole lot easier.
Yeah. Yes. I think there's definitely something to that. And the other thing too is it's not like you just I feel like there's a misconception that like once you've knocked out a couple, 2, 3 novels that you'll feel like, oh, I know what I'm doing now. And the truth is, tell me, like Michelle already knows what I'm going to say. It doesn't matter if you've written 11 books or 14 books or 80 books. At some point in the book, you'll be like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I've just been lucky the whole time. That happens to everybody. I talked to an author that has almost 100 novels, big bestseller. She said the same thing. Like, she's out there. I mean, like millions of books she sold. And she was like, yeah, every book I feel like, oh shit, I don't know what I'm doing at all.
Yep.
So
yeah, I worked on monthly deadlines in comic books, and I had one art partner that summed it up pretty well. We would get in a groove on a particular issue of whatever, and then we would stop for like 2 or 3 days in between till the next one. And it always felt like that beginning, we didn't know what we were doing until we got in the groove of a few pages or a week into it. And then we'd sort of hit our groove again. It felt like we were starting over. And it's like, what did we do last time? And how did we do that?
Right. You're like, how is this again?
It never really ends.
No, it doesn't. And I don't okay, so you guys know on this channel, if you're writing romance, I have like a romance sort of beat sheet, right? It kind of explains all the different beats in a romance book or a romance film. And there are times when I'm like, I'm missing something, and I'll like go back to my own beat sheet and go, oh, well, I forgot this, or I don't have enough of a lead up to this. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, Heather, oh, cool. Okay, so this is Orlando Reads Books. I am very excited to meet you in person too. I'm excited to meet everybody. I have never done this event. A good friend of mine was doing it, and the host was kind enough to invite me, and I'm super excited. Love. Stacy, making myself try to write was not working, so I needed the break. Totally get that. Adrian Santiago will be there. I had no idea. Yay, look at you. All right, very, very cool. We don't have any other questions that I feel like the other question that I had, I think we're going to save for next week because it's kind of a big one. So let's go ahead and do our outro, since we made our 3 sprints and we don't have time to do another one. I hate when the time is like weird like this. We're like, we don't, unless somebody has like a quickie question. Oh, here, let's see. I know the film script format isn't a medium mostly read on the go, yet there are some authors who approach this, such as Monster, made seem possible. and C as literature. I'm not quite getting what you mean by the comment. I'm sorry. Usually I can decipher these, but sometimes not. Anybody else got a handle on this one?
Film scripts are useful. I mean, they're really useful for dialogue and structure because they follow a very similar structure. But yeah, I mean, there's stuff to learn from that, and I've learned a lot from, craft books about film and photography and even how it's shot, from camera angles and things like that. So there's stuff to learn from all of it. And
yeah, I mean, Save the Cat for novels came from Save the Cat for film. And so I think that anytime you're looking at craft, I mean, shoot, I look at Shonda Rhimes, who is so great with dialogue and tension and deliciousness. And and there are so many. And Butter, if you guys are fans of Theodore Taylor's Seven-Figure Fiction, and if you're not, you definitely should be. She's it's brilliance, this book. But and Butter is what I was going to say from Seven-Figure Fiction. There's so much butter in Shonda Rhimes' work. And I do not have to explain. If you don't already know what butter is, go get Theodore Taylor's book, Seven-Figure Fiction. And you should, but if you do know, you know what I'm talking about. So
most creators, I think, have that comfort zone too. And we don't look at other genres. We don't look at other mediums. Even if they might have the answers we're looking for, we get in this routine and we get stuck there. But, look at everything because the answers are there. And sometimes looking at them in a different format is, your magic wand and tells you how to do what you need to do.
I think that's true. I mean, I had the roughest time sort of trying to figure out how to kind of plot out a book. And I read a million, like back in the beginning, and I read a million craft books, but the one that resonated for me was the one by Janet Ivanovich and a co-author who I terribly cannot remember the name of, but she storyboards. And that was something that I had done for years when I worked in advertising, and it made perfect sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But for somebody else, that may have not connected in the same way. They might need some other method or, some other way. Oh, good. Gamer, we are super excited about that. All right, guys, let's go ahead and do our outros and say goodbye. We are going to be here next week, of course, next Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Same crew, always. I think I started with Robert, so I'm going to start with Michelle this time. Tell us a little about you before we go.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. I'm Michelle. I write young adult and middle grade novels, and my channel is Writing Workshops, Traditional Publishing Chat, and Writing Blogs. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for being here, as always. Robert, tell us a little about you before we go.
Well, my channel is The Story Detective, where we take various forms of storytelling and put it under a Sherlockian microscope and break down the craft. There's stuff there for different aspects of craft and writing. There's what writers could learn from characters in comic books. There's a lot of things there to look at. So that might be some inspiration.
Yeah,
check it out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here too. I am Lisa Daly. I'm a traditionally published / indie published, which makes me a hybrid author. And if you want to write a book you're super proud of and get it published, this is a great channel to start with. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for for hanging out, likes, loves, etc. If you have a question for us, you can just reach out to me on social media, or you can always drop it in the chat, and we are happy to chit chat on the topic. All right. You guys have a great week. Right. And we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Take care, everybody.